this morning I've been walking with Roxy and just like reflecting and looking at different areas of my life. And something dropped in around haters. You know, everyone says like, oh, my haters. It's like, frankly, I don't really have a whole lot of haters. I've got people who don't like me, sure. But to have a hater is to have someone who's willing to give up their life force in hating you, who's willing to trade all of their power and energy to demonize, scrutinize, put all of the attention on you. Now, this time last year, I also got a huge download about anyone who hates me, I'm just going to eat them. That like, if you waste your life force in trying to destroy me, then I'm going to use that very life force you give away freely for my life. If we really look at my life, that's exactly what I've done, right? My life just gets better and better and better. But this morning's download was really about like the greatest hater. You know, the one who is so committed to trying to take you down because they're uncommitted to being able to look at their own life. See, the people who will hate you the most are the ones who will throw away every opportunity they've been given access to, because it's so much more convenient to hate you than to be self-reflective and be like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. To really look at yourself and say, I fucked up. I did not use my life force in a way that was generative for the things that I need and require. I'm going to spend all of my energy continuing to hate this person who didn't do that. It's so much more convenient to do that, right? Like, it's so much more convenient to hate somebody for seizing every opportunity they were given than to be honest that you didn't. And so, you know, this morning I'm looking at my greatest haters. And we all know who they are, right? We all have like, you can name the 3 people who hate you the most. And I was looking at them and I was like, why do they hate me so much? And it's because all cards were stacked against me. I wasn't supposed to be where I am. I wasn't supposed to be as successful as I am. My nature and nurturing was kind of capped at a certain level, right? Like, I was supposed to make it to this point and that was it. And my life was supposed to be that shitty and that great and that's it, right? But nothing more than that. And so the fact that I have actively taken on every opportunity that's come my way and allowed it to be generative for my life is confronting. So when you have someone who starts on the game of life in a prosperous position, let's say, they've been given access to everything. When they throw away that access because they're busy hating you for seizing everything that you were given, I would hate you too. You know, I would hate me for doing better in the game of life than someone who is in a more advantageous position who didn't. This is what I'm pointing to, is that you had the opportunity to move forward and out, and you denied that opportunity for whatever reason, very human reasons, right? Like, oh, if I were to actually be successful, I'd have to leave my family behind. If I were to actually earn money, then I would have to be smart with it. If I were to actually be the person that I have been given the access to becoming, then my entire life would change. And I don't want that to change because that's really fucking uncomfortable. That's really fucking confronting. And so people don't. And everybody does this, right? Everybody sees opportunities to shift and radically evolve their life. And it's just easier not to. And so we go, okay, I'm just going to put a kibosh on that opportunity. I'm not going to seize it. I'm not going to lean into it. I'm not going to take advantage of it. Just so we can be victimized for a life remaining the same. Looking back at my greatest haters. These were people born in advantageous spots in the game of life. Whether it was their area code, their upbringing, their network, their what have you. They had an advantageous spot. For sure. No doubt in my mind. But they walked away from that advantage. They dismissed it. They demonized it. They said, no, I don't want to do that. And so when you turn around and you look at somebody who was not born into an advantageous spot, sees everything in their life, it's like, fuck, where did I go wrong? You know, where did I fuck up? And the truth is, hating me is the only access to power they have remaining because they walked away from it. And I'm going to give you guys some like very clear examples because I think it's important. You know, the particular individuals who really hate me. These are people who struggle with money, who are constantly at odds with life. But they were born into like some pretty decent existence, right? Tons of family around, tons of network, you know, grew up in the city, like really decent lives. And in comparison to me, who grew up without running water, you know, only child, not really a big access to a network, could only see my grandparents every summer. Like, I really didn't have a lot going on for me as a kid. And so when you look at it from an objective stance, it's like, oh, you know, they're doing great. And this kid is already set up for like a mediocre existence. So when the tides turn and I do fucking great in my life and their life is the exact fucking same, it's fucking painful. Like you can't say it's not. It's fucking painful to be like, wow, that person was born in a disadvantaged spot to whatever degree, and they're doing good. And I was born with more advantage, and I'm not doing so great. I'm not doing so hot, you know? It would fucking sting. And so it's much easier to go, well, no, that's their fucking piece of shit. They're doing evil stuff. They're a witch, whatever. Like, say whatever you want, than it is to be personally responsible for your life. To be like, oh, I had more opportunities and I walked away from all of them. I had more access than they did and I threw them all away. Your greatest haters are the ones who walked away from their own life, because if they didn't walk away from their own life, they wouldn't waste any of theirs hating you. It just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't be possible. And, my whole journey on TikTok has really taught me this. Like, people who do nothing with their lives are the ones who are bullshitting in people's comment sections. The ones who are like, bullying and wasting their fucking time. It's like, if you were doing anything with your life, you would see this as a waste. Like, you would see this as such a non-lucrative expense of your energy, And sure, like, our human selves like to pick fights and stuff, but these people do it as a profession. Like, they literally will waste hours of their life picking fights with people on the internet. And it's like, man, if you were actually taking advantage of the opportunities you had access to, your life could be radically different. But instead, you're going to throw away that access and you're going to waste your life force energy in hating someone who is an absolute stranger to you. Entitlement is a pattern, and it's one I talk about at length, right? Entitlement is the demand for your delusion. It is a preference for your fantasy over the reality that you actually live. That's what entitlement is. This is where, like, you can see it. Like, we see a Karen at a shop. She's like, oh my God, I need a refund on this. It's like, ma'am, you don't have a receipt. Our policies, we need a receipt. But I paid for the blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, you have a fantasy that you should get a refund without a receipt, and you demand for it, and therefore you're not going to get it because it's a delusion, And so when someone has been given access to change their life and they walk away from it and they expect their life to be different, that is absolutely entitlement. But you're not entitled for your life to be good or better without you participating in it. And I think that's really the difference. And like, when I'm teaching people in any of my containers, it's like sovereign participation is the only thing you got. And when it comes down to it, you can say no to whatever the hell you want, but you can't be upset that you said no to it. The only thing you have is responsibility thereafter. You said no to being sovereignly participating in your life. Okay, fine. Then be responsible for what happens thereafter. Respond to your reality. You said no to a job that pays you more. Then you have to be responsible for the fact that you may not have the money that you need for the life that you want, right? You don't want to participate in a conversation with breaking up with a partner who isn't right for you. Then don't be upset. You have to just be responsible for the life that you've got in staying with a relationship that wasn't aligned. See, the greatest haters that we have are the ones who will not see that they are sovereign enough to change their life. And so they'll hate you for it. It's all projections. It's all saying, well, fuck you. Well, I don't know what it is that you did. How did you fare off? How did you get better? And it's like, cause I just fucking participated in life. Like, that's the crazy thing, right? Like, whether you started off on a really advantageous spot on the board of life in comparison to someone who's a disadvantaged spot, they've got more obstacles, they got more shit to deal with. What you start to realize is the disadvantages that you start off with and the advantages that you start off with don't fucking matter. That someone who starts off in a shit position can do really fucking well in the game of life. And someone who starts off with all of the fucking privilege and the access and the opportunity can do just as shitty. The only thing that matters is the degree of sovereign participation. There are people who have disadvantages who fucking participate, respond, shift, radically evolve their life. And then there are people who have all the advantages in the world and do fucking nothing with it and then radically devolve their life. The haters are the ones who devolved. Haters are the ones who look at you and say, wow, like, you've gotten more in your life than I have. And I'm refusing to acknowledge that you worked for that. I'm refusing to acknowledge that you evolved for that. I'm refusing to acknowledge that you transformed to that because I don't want to evolve or transform. I don't want to participate in life. So it's easier for me to waste all of the energy that I could to participate in my life in hating you. Now, going back to the thing that I did last year. You hate me. That is your energy. That is your life force. That is what you are willing to expend on me instead of on your own life. Guess what? I'm going to eat it. I'm going to do so well in my life. Every energy you waste hating me is just going to make me better. It's going to make me more honest. It's going to make me more transparent. It's going to make me more vulnerable. It's going to make me more invincible, to be frank. I'm not going to reject the power you want to give me. I'll take it. Gladly. You're not going to use it anyway. I'll take it. You want to waste it on me? Okay, I'll take the gift, And what that is really is like, that's the alchemy of projection. You would much rather project on me and say that I did all of this shit or that I didn't show up or that I didn't whatever than actually look at your own life. Use that power in literally anything else. Literally anything else. Use that power on leaving your shit job and getting a better one. Use that power on having an honest conversation with your partner. Use that power on getting real with your money. Use that power for fucking anything that your life requires. Don't use it on me. But hey, if you're gonna, I won't reject it, because I don't reject the opportunities I've been given access to. I'm going to receive it fully. You know, it's so strange. Like when downloads like this pop in, I'm always just like, what the fuck is this about? Like, why is alchemy of hatred? Why is the alchemy of projection so a part of like my life? And I go back to like when I was like 16, 17, you know, my parents allowed me to have parties at our house as long as they were there. They're like, hey, we're here. Go ahead, have a party. And truthfully, no one really wanted to come to my parties because they were out in the middle of fucking bumfuck nowhere. But I would have them. And I remember my grandfather calling, you know, a couple days later, and he goes, oh, I heard from a bird that Stefania drinks alcohol. And my mom's like, well, one, you know that. Our family across the generations has never like tabooed alcohol. It was just like, if you give kids access to it, they don't really want to do it. And that was 100% true in my family. My mom's like, you know that. What's the problem? Who the fuck is this bird? And he goes, oh, no, a bird told me. And my mom's like, I fucking know who it is, right? It's the same people over and over again. And this happened periodically throughout my life. My grandfather would get a phone call from someone. We'll name them unnamed. Voldemort would call my grandfather and would try to like get my grandfather to demonize me, and not realizing that like that man's love was so unconditional. He knew all my fucking secrets. He knew about my tattoo. Like he knew all this shit about me, and he could never be turned on me, you know? But this person would spend their fucking life trying to get my grandfather to turn on me. Do you know how exhausting it is to spend your life to try to get someone else to hate someone and it never work out? like here you are trying to collude, try to commiserate, trying to get somebody on your side, and it just like they're immovable. Like how shitty would that feel? You know, you just waste your fucking life trying to get this person hated and whatnot. This is literally since I was a kid, this would happen. And my grandfather would just find it funny, right? Like he's just like, oh my God, like these people like try to hate my granddaughter all day long. And even more so, you know, since I was a baby, like my family's very into like Malokyo. We believe in the evil eye, which is, you know, if you're more Anglo, you'll hear that as like psychic attacks, right? A lot of people fueling hatred towards you creates an energetic negativity that will smother someone, is basically the intention of it. And it can be done unintentionally is what's crazy. Malokyo can be done by just a side eye. That's why it's called the evil eye. And so since I was a baby, I have been plagued with it. Like, and I mean plagued. Like we would go to the family strega and she would pass out doing the blessing. Like she was like, there's so much. She would literally start crying because there was just so much energy that was being directed at me since I was a fucking baby. And so I think it's really crazy to think that if I really look at my life, how much of my life was like to not let the negativity, to not let the hatred of others actually kill me, but to instead use the power that they give away freely and alchemize it for my own use. Now, what's crazy is the more that they hate me, the more that I can do that, and the more it gives them reason to hate me. So it's kind of like this weird looming perpetual growth for me, but like I'm always going to be surrounded by like this hate, you know, because I'm literally feeding off of it. And so the truth is like I actually don't see an end of that. I don't think we can ever out-evolve hatred. I don't think as a society we're capable of it. And so as long as a society we're not able to evolve past hatred, us as individuals have to learn how to alchemize it. Now here's the crazy thing, is that most of us are so scared of the alchemy of hatred that we put on a facade. Because if we put on a facade, then maybe no one will hate us. If we don't know how to alchemize the projections and the negativity and all the bullshit, then we'll put on this like really beautiful presentation and present to something in hopes that will make us less hateable. And what ends up happening is that's called as a glamour. Okay. And you'll hear me talk more about this in the upcoming weeks, but like a glamour is any pretty presentation to hide the truth beneath it. Right. So if you look at Marilyn Monroe, she had such a good fucking glamour. If you look at pretty much all politicians, they have a glamour to them. It's enticing. It's compelling, but it's still distorted. It's not the truth of them. And so while they get all this attention, it's not for the deeper thing, right? It's not for the truth of who you are. It is the glamour. It's the distortion. It's the presentation. It's all of the behaviors that get attached to that in attempt to avoid being hated, in attempt to avoid being demonized, in attempt to avoid being dominated. It's all a fucking facade. And so in the process of like alchemizing hate, you have to be able to see where your facade is. Where are you avoiding it? Right? Yeah. Right. If you live too long, it will kill you. If you live inside the hatred or the fear of the hatred,
right? It can kill you. You need to be able to be revealed enough that when you get hated, you can alchemize it. And you can bring it in and fucking eat it. Because it's not going anywhere. Hatred is not going anywhere. I'm sorry. I would love to live in this ethereal fucking plane where people are like, love and light and just, everyone just needs to be more compassionate and beautiful and loving to. I'm sorry. I live in the human fucking place where there's shit things happening all the fucking time. I don't live in some 5D perfection. I live in the perfection of the mess of humanity. Hatred ain't going anywhere. And I'm so sorry about that. And I'm sorry to be the bursting of the bubbles. You have to learn how to alchemize the hatred because those people are so fucking committed to hating you. Because if not hating you would mean having to be responsible for themselves. I want you to see that. Hating you is a way where they never have to be responsible for their own life, where they never have to be a participant in their own life, where they never have to use their life force for something that will evolve and transform them. So they'd rather project it onto you. So the only thing you can do is if they're going to give it up freely, it's to take it in, receive it fully, and use it to make your life super fucking hot without the facade. Because the facade is just avoiding that hatred that they're going to give you anyway, right? Now, here's the thing. This new body of work is exactly this. This new body of work that I have been fighting with for fucking years at this point. It's dropped in and then it got too scary and I was like, I'm not ready for it. It's coming. And there's 3 different levels of participation you can play in. If you feel called to this, I want you to send me a message right away because the first round, enrollment's going to be opened in stages. So the first round will go to invitations only. So those are the people who really want in. And then I'll be opening it publicly thereafter. Because part of the glamour, part of the facade that you put up to avoid receiving the hate and receiving the projections and receiving the heat of people's responses, part of that glamour is that it needs to be compelling to you, right? It needs to have a good enough story attached to it that you buy it. Meaning people pleasing is a glamour. Oh, if you're just kind and if you're just nice to everybody, you know, life will just be smooth. Just be kind. And it's like, some people are fucking cunts. What are you talking about? Not everybody deserves your kindness. I'm sorry. Some people need to be totally kicked out of your worlds, and being kind is a way that you allow them to continue to remain in it. So no, that's not always the truth. But the facade, which is so pretty, so compelling, is often created by this martyrdom, this internal sense of suffering is just a part of life and that you need to sacrifice yourself for peace. And so you'll people please, you'll put up with that really pretty facade, you'll accept and tolerate certain behaviors, but you'll tell yourself a particular story to do so. And this is called self-gaslighting because intuitively, internally, in your deepest sense of knowing, you will know that that's not it. You will know that that is not what you want to be doing, not what you should be doing, and not what's true to do. But this story, oh, no, but if you're just really nice, if you just accept them, you just tolerate this just for a moment, it's going to be fine. It's just first date jitters. It's one of my self-gaslighting, right? It's just, they're not an asshole. This is first date jitters. It's fine stuff. And you know what happens? Is I get put on this fucking ever-ending loop. And while I'm on this loop, I have this pretty facade because I'm convincing myself to present something, right? Present that it's okay. Present that it's just him having first date jitters. And so I go on this whole fucking journey of the murder, who made it so convincing to waste my fucking life force being in that experience. All to end up in the same place. The guy proves himself to not be a match for me. So why did I do that? Well, the martyr says, waste your fucking power, waste your energy. And the glamour is so compelling that it ensures that you go on the full fucking ride. So this is all a part of a much bigger body of work, as I've mentioned. This is all a part of a deeper fucking journey. And it's a journey that many people will be too scared to go on because it feels like it might kill you. Like, oh my God, telling this guy the truth that I'm not interested in him might kill me. Oh my God, being responsible for my life might actually kill me because I have to let go of these relationships that need me to be broke. Oh my God, it might kill me to move across the country because I'm going to abandon my family. Like all of these stories, the stories will have to be killed. Absolutely. And I'm so sorry to hear that. But like, that's just the truth. The stories aren't true. They're such a beautiful fantasy to buy into. But the more you buy into a fantasy, the more you'll demand for it. And then you'll realize that you're entitled to a life that you don't actually deserve because you deserve so much better. See, what's crazy is that people feel entitled to a shitty fucking life. And then they demand for it. I can't be wealthy. No. Do you see all the obstacles I got to navigate? Yeah. None of that matters. You deserve so much more than the life that your mind and your ego has convinced you is the ceiling. And so part of the martyr cycle, and I'm going to be teaching this in the upcoming experience, which I'm going to introduce you guys to in a moment, is like, that's what it does. is that there's so much energy to be potentiated into your life for sovereign participation, but it would radically transform and evolve you to use it. And so the martyr comes in and says, no, betraying yourself is just such a safer thing right now because you have no idea what the fuck you're doing with that energy. And so it'll take you on this fucking ride for so long until you decide that you are going to wield it, until you decide you're going to take the power. You're not going to burn through it anymore. You're not going to hide it anymore. You're going to root it in who you are, and then you're going to wield it right. That is the journey of Fatale. Fatale is the deepest body of work that I'm releasing. And like I said, there's going to be different parts of it. So you can determine the journey you particularly want to go on, starting on Kerosene as a group experience this September. So September 9th, what is Kerosene? It is unpacking the ways you self-gaslight and self-abandon, the way that your mind convinces you to leave your truth behind, the way that your mind convinces you that certain behaviors are more lucrative when they're actually more sacrificing. September 9th is when we're holding it. It's a Saturday. I'm going to be opening enrollment soon. But again, if you want in, just message me because the first level of enrollment will be those who are explicitly invited. But beyond that, if you're like, I just want to do just the self-gaslighting stuff, I don't really want to go that deep, you can just do that. Okay. It'll just be that. And that'll be perfect. It'll be a month and you won't have to do anything thereafter. You'll just be very attuned to all the ways that you burn through your power. And that's all you'll know. But if you're like, okay, I want to stop burning through my power. And I also don't want to hide it from the world. I also want to be more revealed. I don't want to waste any amount of my life trying to pretend I'm something I'm not. Then you're going to join me in Glamour. Glamour is a 4-month journey, which includes Kerosene, into really revealing the version of you that you are scared of revealing. The thing that inside of you is exposed. There is no turning back. This thing inside of you that when it is totally out in the wild, you are going to receive projections and you're going to receive negativity and you're going to receive all of this shit. That's Glamour. Because until you can actually sit in the fire and not die, you're not going to be able to alchemize the flame. Now, you might be stuck, okay, I'm not burning my power. I'm not hiding my power. Then fucking what? Well, then you got to ground it, right? So I'm also bringing back, and this will only be available for those who are joining Fatale, the deeper journey, but I'm bringing back Sleaze Motel. If you're unfamiliar with my work and you've been brand new to this space, Sleaze Motel is the journey of anal alchemy. And yes, you heard that right. Because at some point you have to learn how to ground excess power in your body enough to be able to use it. And one of the places that people lose sight on in being able to ground energy is that your root is the place for it to be grounded through. And what better way to actually allow yourself to surrender the closest spot to your root. And so that is going to be retaught. I'm going to be bringing back live, and it's going to be taught to those who are doing the Fatale journey, which is a full year of this work, a full year of looking at where you hide, looking at a full year of where you burn through, and actually cultivating the practice of grounding all of that extra heat, all of that extra energy that wasn't already yours, and grounding it so you can alchemize it into being yours and begin to wield it for your life. Like I said, haters aren't going anywhere. Negativity is not going anywhere. So if you don't learn how to actually alchemize it, bring it into the body and be able to shoot forward with it with precision, then all you're going to be doing is being like this big fat bubble of energy and opting out of participating with it. Okay. So if you want to be on the invitation list, you're going to make sure that you send me a message. 2, if you're like, I want to just feel into this a little bit longer. I don't want to be directly invited. I just want to know when the frequency drops and I want to be able to feel into the enrollment. That's cool too. No big deal. But I am going to be doing a webinar, a live Zoom call event with me, plus Q&A for those who attend live on August 22nd. So if you just want to attend the webinar, you're like, babe, I don't want an invitation yet. I just want to feel into the frequency. You're going to send me a message and just say, can I be added to the webinar waitlist? Okay. I am going to be releasing this soon. I am going to totally reveal it. There's so much heat in my body and there's so much moving around it because this really is, if I look at my whole fucking life, this is what it is, right? I have had hate web pages made about me. I've had fucking physical fights and altercations. There's so much shit in my life around this alchemy of hatred and projection that for me not to actually fully root this medicine into me and deliver it of service to you would be it would be self-disrespecting to me. And so I'll give you guys some insights. If you just want Kerosene, you'll be able to sign up just for Kerosene. If you want Glamour, right? My glamorous little puppy. If you want Glamour, you're going to be able to register just in that, but you're going to include Kerosene. Okay. So there's 2 levels. If you're someone who wants the 12 months deep held journey, there's an application. Okay. But I'm going to trust your process. I'm going to trust the depth of the journey that you want. I'm going to trust the length of the journey that you want. And that's going to be the path for you, whatever it is. Okay. So if you want to start talking about it, DMs are open. So different layers, webinar, free, Kerosene in September, and then Glamour, which includes the whole friggin' journey, and then Fatale, which is a full cycle of Kerosene, Glamour, and Sleaze Motel with a deeper mentorship. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to be publishing this, so I would love for you just to hang tight and wait until I publish this to share what you are leaving here with. Okay. Because Instagram is fucking stupid and doesn't keep your comments, which I hate. They need to fix it. Okay. Love you all. Thank you for joining me in this live stream on 9 a.m. Sunday morning, and we will talk soon.